It may not be as flashy as the Super Bowl, but one TV broadcast arguably affected more Americans than any football game ever has. On December 1st, 1969, the draft lottery for the Vietnam War was televised live, deciding the fate of thousands of young people. Between 1964 and 1973, over 2.2 million American men were drafted into the military. How did the draft get started, and what would a draft lottery look like today? The first draft in the U.S. happened during the Civil War. In 1863, the U.S. government called for the registration of all males between 20 and 45. Unfortunately, this mainly affected the poor, as wealthier men were able to pay $300 for a draft exemption, just over $2,500 in today's economy. They could even hire a substitute to fight in their place. Fast forward 50 years, and the U.S. is preparing to enter the First World War. President Woodrow Wilson wanted to get troops to the front, and fast, so he signed the Selective Services Act, requiring all men between the ages of 21 and 30 to register. This quickly turned an army of 100,000 into an army of over 2.8 million. After the war, the draft was dissolved, and we never had to worry about it again, until the next World War. In 1940, President Franklin Roosevelt signed the Burke-Wodsworth Act, creating the first peacetime draft in U.S. history. When the U.S. officially entered the war, the draft expanded to include men 18 to 37. It also included African American men for the first time. The term conscientious objector was also coined during World War II. Objectors could be exempt from service if they could demonstrate sincerity of belief in religious teachings combined with a profound moral aversion to war.
Thousands of demonstrators opposed to the Vietnam War assembled in the nation's capital for a mass protest.
The Vietnam War saw peak resistance to the draft. The war lost support domestically, and many refused to fight in a war they didn't believe in. In order to evade the draft, many men failed to register with the Selective Service or fled the country entirely. Over 200,000 men were charged with draft evasion, including the high-profile case of Muhammad Ali, which was eventually overturned by the Supreme Court. These draft dodgers were pardoned by President Jimmy Carter on his first day in office, January 21, 1977. Since 1973, we haven't needed a draft lottery, but what would it look like in today's age? The process is surprisingly low-tech. Like the worst raffle you've ever seen, it all begins by drawing numbered balls from two large drums. One drum contains each possible birth date, and the other contains balls printed with the number 1 to 366. If the date July 23rd is drawn with the ball number 1, those with birthdays on July 23rd will be the first group called. The current Selective Service system prioritizes those whose 20th birthday falls on the calendar year of the draft. Those turning 21 would be second priority, and so on until you turn 26, at which time you are over the age of liability. Even though we haven't used a draft lottery in over 40 years, young men must still register within 30 days of their 18th birthday. Recent federal court rulings have said it's unconstitutional to require men but not women to serve, but we've yet to see if this will actually change policy. What are your thoughts on the draft? Share them in the comment section.